Hi, I'm Maria Theohara Silvella Says on social media. Welcome back to Sober 50s podcast on So Organized Style. Make sure you like and subscribe So Organized Style podcast on your podcast app and on YouTube.
We're in the in-between. We collect the materials from people and organizations that don't have any use for what they have, and we're trying to find homes for them. And that's our mission. We are aiming to always find homes for any materials we're collecting.
That's Irina McKenzie of Fabcycle in Vancouver, Canada. Grab a cuppa to hear Irina's story about Fabcycle. Irina, thank you for coming on to So Organized Style podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here today.
I'm really pleased that you said yes to be on. And for our listeners and our viewers, you're in Vancouver, Canada, and I'm in Sydney, Australia.
That's right.
That's right.
Quite a way.
And we can talk. So, Fabcycle, how did you get involved with Fabcycle? Tell me your story.
I started kind of venturing into this around 2013, but really my background is quite diverse. I studied law and then ventured into working into a specialty retail company. And then when an opportunity came in, I took a program called Groundswell. At the time, it was a local program for social entrepreneurship. And through that program, I had the privilege of discovering the really important values and the things I actually care about. And it was really fascinating program because it was the first time in my life where I was thrown into a business program, but they forced us not to think about business for the first few months.
Okay.
Because they wanted to get us through this process of really discovering the core values of who we are as people, what we truly care about. And the idea behind it is that if we uncover those foundational pieces of value that we have when we decide what type of a business or whatever venture we're doing, when things get tough, you stick to your values, to what you care about, and your why, which is a really deep reason. And so I am eternally grateful for this program. And because of that program, I entirely changed my life and my career. I dived into entrepreneurship, which I always wanted to. From being an employee to being self-employed is a huge leap. And it's very transitional, it's very transformational, and it takes many, many years. And so that program put me up for that journey. And so through the program, I discovered sustainability, circular economy. I got really excited about upcycling. And I started a nonprofit called Framework Education Society, where we were organizing community events all around town, bringing sewing machines to like libraries, community centers, and just inviting people to join us. And we taught them how they can repair their own clothing. So we didn't do it for them. Our whole thing was about like, we're not gonna do it for you, because if you want somebody else to do it for you, you should go pay for like a local like alteration service, support our local businesses. But if you do want to learn that skill, you definitely are in a great place where we can actually teach you. So it was great, but it was really difficult to make a living because at the time especially was nobody really was funding very much like these type of social enterprises or this type of community. And even like talking about sewing, even till today, like people don't realize people sew, but it's not about really sewing, like sewing and understanding how to, repair your own clothes, how to do things. It's really an act of self-care. There's so much like connection and relationship building, and there's so much like stress relief. There's so many beautiful things that makes us as humans. That's basically what really kept me going for like many years running this nonprofit and not really paying myself. And then I realized I really love this community, that I kind of learned more hobby sewists and people are being part of this community with the same values of sustainability, circular economy, upcycling. Like we all have like share a lot of the same values, but just needed places to hang out, and talk to each other. But at the time I got involved more with industry, with like apparel and fashion. I started learning more and more about a circular economy and more about recycling. And so I got into industry consultation process, where I was one of the co-conveners, and we were talking about what's going to happen if we have a textile waste ban in our region. And so it was really fascinating because they brought in the room, sorters and graders and educators and policymakers and other stakeholders in our local industry to understand like what are the implications if we have a textile waste ban in the region. And the one thing that I took out of it was that we do have somewhat a system for textile waste diversion when it comes to clothing, which is considered to be post-consumer waste.
Yeah.
Meaning like you can donate your clothing into, a donation bin, and it's going to go to sorters and graders. They're going to sort it, and then they're going to ship it for resale. That's a different podcast probably thing.
Yeah.
But anything that is pre-consumer textile waste, which is things like fabric rolls and sewing supplies and scraps even, or even samples, like
Yes.
we don't really have a system for those things. And I got really fascinated with that because I thought, well, that's wild, because the textile industry and textile waste as such, they're such massive industries, and we don't have a good system for this. And then the more I talk to designers and fashion schools and film sets, the more I realize there's incredible amount of usable materials that are being thrown away because people just don't know what to do with them.
Yeah.
And they take a lot of space, and they weigh a lot, and they just need to be gone. But there's nowhere they can take it to, because the donations of the clothing and the bins, it's a entirely different textile waste stream, and they deal with it entirely differently.
Yep.
So I thought, oh my gosh, this is quite interesting, because it really hits all the key points of where, my values are, where my experience is, where I am at my place of like, I'm ready to take on this new adventure, and I want to do something.
Yep.
And hit all my entrepreneurship kind of
Senses.
buzzy excitement. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
like, ooh, I sent something there. There's something really cool. So I kind of got into research. I went to a bunch of trade shows, tried to figure out, okay, where I'm gonna get this textile recycling, what's gonna happen. Nothing, nowhere. It's so difficult. It is so crazy. And that was around 2016 or so. And then I figured out some plans, and then I started Fabcycle, which is a play on words fabric recycle.
Yep.
I like play on words, as you can probably tell with my other venture, Sojo. So Fabcycle started in 2017, and we started by collecting textile waste from local apparel manufacturers, just scraps, offcuts, things like that. But then with time, we started getting a lot of usable materials, like fabric rolls. And I'm talking about a lot of fabric rolls, not just like one or two. We're talking about full rolls in plastic bags that for different reasons just not usable anymore to their original owners.
Right.
Then we had private folks started coming to us saying, oh my gosh, I'm moving, I'm retiring, we have an estate thing sale that we have leftovers. What am I going to do with this stuff? I don't want to throw it away because this is nice stuff. And I was like, we'll take it. But now I'm like, okay, now I'm starting to have a problem, because now I'm getting into the place where I don't have space for things. And, rent in Vancouver is very expensive. So we said, okay, well, we need to find our community, the people that can actually use it, those creative folks that are seeing beyond, textile waste, or beyond something that looks maybe like weird or funny. They can actually do something with it. So we did the pop-up shop just to see how it goes. And it was a massive success. And then we're like, okay, well, we have all these roles. We need to find homes for those roles. So we open a retail shop. Well, I say retail loosely. It's kind of a warehouse chic, as I like to call it. Yeah, and until today, we're running it as our textile waste reuse center in Vancouver. And we sell online, we sell in person, but the community just keeps growing. People are a lot more aware about textile waste and deadstock and sustainability. They're a lot better at reading between the lines, like where there's greenwashing and when there's legit efforts of diverting textile waste. That's where I am today. And then there's a whole thing about soju, but that's later.
Okay, so with Fabcycle, you've got a few things that I saw on your website. Pass It Forward, the Fabcycle Sewing Group, your Stash Bash vendor call, and BOGO. Shall we start with Pass It Forward?
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Pass It Forward is essentially, we see ourselves as ambassadors, like we're in the in-between. We collect the materials from people and organizations that don't have any use for what they have. And we're trying to find homes for them. And that's our mission. We are aiming to always find homes for any materials we're collecting. We're not taking clothing because, like I said earlier, it's an entirely different waste stream and there's a lot of options for that. So we want to take only stuff that people cannot use. We don't purchase materials because, again, we encourage people to sell it if they can sell it. Like, go for it, do it. But if you can't sell it, if you need this gone, we will take it and we'll find homes for it. And that's all we do all day, every day. So it's bringing things in, sorting and organizing, and figuring out, okay, how we're going to make it look pretty or digestible for so other makers can actually kind of, comprehend like or start imagining what to do with it. And yeah, and that's all we do, just like circulating stuff over and over again. And there's a lot of cool stuff because we're makers ourselves too, so we're like all like squealing and like celebrating and we're having so much fun when we get stuff. It's like, yeah, it's a blast.
And I'd encourage listeners and viewers to go to your Instagram account because the first post is how to get there, how to get to your shop, your retail shop.
Yes. Yes. We're kind of hidden on the fourth floor of the building in Chinatown, and it's a very old building. It's very interesting. There's a bit of an adventure to get to us, but it's worth it because our whole building is filled with artists and social enterprises and really cool folks that not just us. So it's worth the trip.
Yes. Fabcycle Sewing Group. Is this a Facebook group?
Yes. Yes. It's a Facebook group. And so it's just, we encourage folks to post things that they've made with their materials, like ask questions, just connect to each other more also on like, online if people want to. But we also do a lot of events in person. We have a monthly event we called Friday Social, playing words and sewing social. It's kind of similar to what we did with the nonprofit that I did in years. So we bring all our sewing machines, we bring a bunch of like fabrics, and we invite folks to come over and just bring something to work on, and we just sit down and we just, we laugh and we talk and, and people kind of talk to each other about like different projects they're making or I don't know, the movie they saw. It doesn't matter. It's about like a social connection, especially when it comes in person. So the Fabcycle Sewing Group is more the digital version of it. But in person, you can't beat that.
The connection that you've created is both through the Facebook group and also through your Friday socials once a month.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And we love events. We love collaborations. We love events. Like the more, the better. That's the whole point of a community, right? You have to connect to each other.
So is that what Stash Bash is all about?
Yeah, Stash Bash is we're testing. We're testing. So the intention behind it is this. We got a lot of stuff. We don't need more stuff.
No.
we're okay.
But yeah.
But we also recognize that what we get is true textile waste. We don't filter what comes in. We take stuff. But we also recognize that because of that, a lot of materials we get are like polyester or other stuff that are, they're not hot and trendy, like, fancy linens and things like that. Just because we actually deal with textile waste and deadstock. Not saying they're not beautiful materials, but that's what they are. But we also see that sometimes folks have really beautiful materials and they're really holding on to them because they don't want to donate them. They don't know what to do with them. And so people end up with tons of materials that they actually are not using, just cluttering their cabinets. And this kind of stuff is actually a very heavy emotional mental load. It's a burden on you because you spend all this money and all this effort like thinking about a project and then you didn't do it. There's a bit of a guilt there too, right? Of like not making something. So the Stash Bash idea is basically to say, hey, we're creating a system for you if you want to, that you can sell your stuff. So we will use our platform, and we have like a really good platform to put your stuff online or to in-person market. This will help you like go through the process with us, put your stuff online. We take a commission on it and we all win. And that's it.
Yep.
So we want to make it as a social event as well. So people come and connect in person because like I said, we love events. So just whatever, get people together.
If you are able to get rid of the fabric that you are continually holding on to and not getting rid of, it's a really lovely relief when you do get rid of it.
Yeah.
And you can go to the event. So yeah, great.
Yeah, exactly. And then you end up like hanging out with other folks too. You never know, maybe suddenly you'll get your sojo back, you suddenly like, oh my gosh, start talking about this fabric that you had, but then you realize like, oh, you know what? Maybe I actually should make something. Yeah, maybe I'll go to the social, I'll make something, maybe with a friend. It helps kind of talking about it and being part of it.
Yeah. And the BOGO, I'm assuming that's
BOGO, yeah, just buy one, get one. It's just a collection that we have. Yeah, it's just like stuff that you've had for a while, and we're like, you know what? It's time to pass it down the pipeline into the buy one, get one land. So yeah, just a little sweet deal.
It's a faster exit by that stage.
Yeah, exactly.
So does that bring us to what Sojo's all about? Okay.
Sojo, like I said, I love a play on words. So Sojo is your sewing mojo. But our little tagline is a sewing room in your pocket. And that one is also a bit of a story. So I've been dreaming of Sojo for about 4-ish years. I've started like working on it and planning it 4 years ago. And then life happened and I had to put everything on pause, just, do personal stuff.
Yep.
And then I was like, okay, I still really want to do this. And around early 2024, I fully committed to it. You know how you plan your like year sometime around like December-ish, November, December, I
Yeah.
get into this like very reflective mode where it's introspective, but I like really start visualizing. I really see like the next year. But it's also very connected to like intuition. Like it has
Mm.
to feel right. And then in 2023, right before I started working again on Sojo, I really had that spark of like clarity where I saw how it's going to look like and where we're going to be.
Yep.
And in 2024, like really in January, started working on it again. So I'll actually should say what Sojo is. So Sojo is a mobile app, but it's a platform for hobby sewists. So we're building it to be a whole ecosystem for people that sew. So we're building it as a platform that really is customized for our hobby sewist needs. And so we're interviewing lots of people that are trying to figure out, okay, what are you looking for? What would make your experience of making things a lot more joyful, a lot more fulfilling? Oftentimes when I talk to people that don't sew, they don't realize how sewing is technical and how this is like not an easy hobby to do.
Hmm.
There's a huge learning curve for it, and you continue learning and learning and learning
For
basically all your
years.
life. If you get into sewing, it is a commitment. And so there's so many incredible, well, yeah, I mean, you can always
Yeah.
break a commitment, right? But it
Take a
is like
break. Yeah.
take a
Anyway,
break.
keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, like any relationship, right? You change your flavor, whatever.
I'm
There's all
sorry I
kinds of
said that.
stuff. No, but it's true, right? I'm
Yeah.
just saying it's like you kind of almost like make a pledge to learn something, but it's not easy. Like you go through like challenges, right? Like something doesn't work. You have to figure out how to make something because you don't have that skill or that knowledge of making something. It's not easy to learn something. Like learning is hard. But if somebody is taking the time and mentally preparing to learn something, that means they've committed to
Mhm.
that, which I find it to be fascinating because it's not an easy hobby. And so, yeah, and so Sojo is basically meant to have all the tools to make it a lot more fun and a lot more connected for us. So we launched Sojo just this April. We're still building it. It
Yeah.
is by far not complete. It's not even the tip of the iceberg or where we're actually going.
Mm.
But the first feature we introduced is called the stash feature. And the reason we did the stash feature, which is to organize your materials, like your fabric stash, your patterns, your notions, is because that's the foundation of all sews. We all have a stash. Our thought behind it was that if we help folks to organize their stash, or at least have it visualized, like you don't have to organize, you just visualize it,
Mm.
it will help you to understand like what you have, what other folks may have. It will give more attention to the
Yeah.
stuff you already own, which is what we want. But we have so many other features coming up. We have the stitch log, and we're very excited about that because that's a very cool feature. We have a lot of social features as well, so you can follow each other. We're very excited.
You're going to have fun developing it further.
The best thing is that I'm constantly looking for feedback. I really, really, really would like to know what would make our so is life easier, better, more fun, more connected, like anything, like blue sky, there's no limit. I just want to hear everything. I want to hear any idea that comes to people's minds to make it more fun because we have the ability to do this. And I'm like, this is the time. I have the
Mm.
team, we
Mm.
have the time, we have the will. Let's do it. Tell us what you want. We'll build it. So
Okay. This time next year, where do you see Fabcycle and Sojo?
Soju started from Fabcycle, but they're essentially entirely different
Hmm.
projects. Fabcycle is hyper localized.
Yep.
It's very much in like Canada, Vancouver, Canada, US as well, but it's very like North American.
Yep.
And we're very much, product based, meaning like we collect materials locally from Vancouver
Yep.
and we ship like in North America, but it's very much around textile waste diversion, making sure like materials don't end up in the landfill.
Mm.
And so our work continues to grow there. We continue collecting more materials, more programming around social events and community
Yep.
organization. Sojo is taking new heights. We're introducing a lot like more features, very exciting things for our hobby sewing community, and we're just introducing more folks to sewing as well through that. So they're just growing in different paths and different, not different audiences, just different scale of audiences and different elements. Because in Sojo, there's no product, like we're not selling anything. We're actually trying to encourage other folks to
Mm-hmm.
participate. So like, folks can find other stores, can find other patterns or notions, can find
Yep.
inspiration for projects, and can connect to other makers as well. That's very exciting. We're just continuing growing on all those things. We're open to any type of collaboration. Absolutely. We're very excited to
Yep.
partner with all types of stakeholders in this community. So yeah.
Irina, I run Everything Froctals, the Instagram account, and I think that's where I saw
That's how we met
Fabcycle. No, no, no.
online.
I live in Australia.
No, online. That's how we connected online.
Yes, yes, that's how we connected online. Because I thought the way that I thought that was created really fast and was really fun as well. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Well, the event was in August, was August 14. And so the Fractals was it was a launch party for Sojo, but it was
Ah,
organized by Fabcycle as well. And
mhm.
so we started working on this earlier, but really made it more visible. I think it was around kind of did a teaser, I think in May, but June is like when we actually like started it.
Mm.
And we also ran it in conjunction with our little marketing campaign. It was like a challenge that we called Stash Confessions. And yes, and the whole idea behind it was that we encourage folks to go to their stash
Yep.
and highlight something in their stash. Like we had themes every single week. So I think one week was the fabric, you scared to cut, for example.
Oh,
So
yeah, the
let's find
precious.
that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
precious fabrics. Yeah, or I don't remember, but we had like really fun themes around every week. And then we had prizes, we had a
Mm.
bunch of sponsors, so people would win things every single week, and we had points also on our app. So every time you do something, you log things, you give attention to your stash, which we want to celebrate that, so you get points. It was really fun. We had over 150 folks coming, and it
Yep.
was in a really beautiful venue. It was kind of random though. It was a car dealership. But let me tell you, car dealerships for venues are amazing because you have your glass ceiling, not
Yeah.
ceiling, glass walls, everything is pretty and shiny, but yeah, it was beautiful. And it was colorful too.
Mhm.
Everybody wore what they made. We had an amazing runway. We had a bar and food, and we had different photo booth areas, and it was a blast. It was such a good time. And I've been keep being asked like, when is the next time? When's the next one? That was so much work. So we're still recovering. So we're hoping to have another one next year.
So, just to encourage you to have it again next year, you already know the steps of how to put it together. So, it should be just like that. It'll just
Oh
happen.
yeah. No, no worries. Yeah, I'll just blink my eye and it's done, of course. Yes. But it's not just us. Like we had a whole community,
Yeah.
behind us, like running it. It was quite a massive amount of
Mm.
work to do this. So we had like volunteers to help with the setup of things, and we had our, staff members, we had other, our friends, all our like, spouses and family members, they all came to help. It was beautiful, but it's a lot to ask to do every time. So I think in terms of scalability, we might do like a smaller version of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Either way, we just want to get people together and, and wear what we made and take photos.
I think you've got a good background in getting people together from the not-for-profit work that you
Yeah.
have already done
Yeah.
to the work that you've already done through Fabcycle, both locally and also online with Sojo.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's where we thrive best, when we kind of bring people together and we can connect people to each other,
Yeah.
and just having these conversations are the best.
Yeah. So excited for you because you've got so many things that you're doing and it sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's the point, right? Like life is short. You gotta find things that bring joy and fulfillment.
It fits in with your values, and that's what you did a lot of work on when you first started to change your career from law through to what you're doing now.
I mean, you gotta be true to yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, because things do get hard, especially in this economy, right?
Yes. Yeah. Irina, thank you for coming on to So Organized Style podcast. I wish you all the best with all the projects that you've got under your wing at the moment.
Thank you so much. It's been my absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
This episode of So Organized Style podcast for Sober 50 was both video and audio produced by me, Maria Theoharis, in my sewing room, with permission of Irina, sound by Keefer on YouTube. Many thanks for the ongoing monthly support of the podcast Patreon contributors. Their paid membership enables me to create these video and audio podcasts for you for free. You can subscribe to So Organized Style podcast, but with an S, not a Z, on all good podcast apps and on YouTube. And yes, if you live in Australia and decide to get your own Mimi Queen, I'll be your body scanner. Make sure you go back and listen to our free Sober 50 podcast archive on So Organized Style. Direct message Sandy and the social media editors at Sober 50 on Instagram to contribute to the ongoing posts and challenges. You can be a Sober 50 champion as well. I look forward to joining you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.